history shows that the stronger the influence of Kansas kids, the more success you're going to have in this rivalry and generally. And so I'm super proud of Coach Kleiman and his staff for continuing to place a significant emphasis on recruiting Kansas kids to K-State. It helps set the culture and it helps build success. And so looking forward to seeing the guys out there on Saturday night and hopefully extending the streak to 16.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank. If you're thinking about starting a business or know someone who is, check out Emprise Bank's SBA loans. It's always good to know your options, and they can be your partner in possible.
Hello and welcome to another edition of 3MAW. I am your host, Cole Manbeck, joined as we are every week during football season by Curry Sexton, former K-State wide receiver and partner over at Wildcat NIL, as we are here today to recap and evaluate K-State's dominating 45-18 victory at West Virginia on Saturday. Hope everyone enjoyed some celebratory drinks from our friends over at Holiday Distillery Saturday after that game and toasted some Ben Holiday bottled and bond bourbon. But if you did not or haven't had a chance to try the Ben Holiday bottled and bond bourbon from our friends over at Holiday Distillery, you are in luck this weekend. Holiday Distillery, KCSN, and 3MAW are going to be co-hosting our third annual tailgate in Manhattan this Saturday for the KU game. We're going to have Holiday Distillery 360 vodka batch cocktails to sample and enjoy. So come on out. We'll have bourbon, Ben Holiday bottled and bond bourbon, 360 vodka, mixed cocktails, etc. It is going to be a ton of fun. There's going to be a lot of options to drink over there. So come hang with us. We'll all have a good time. It's always a good time each year when we do this. Enjoy getting to meet so many of our listeners, meet all of you, and get the opportunity to hang out. We're going to be in the same parking spot we always are for this event. If you guys have been there before, over on the west side, paved lot and parking spot 778. Again, that's 778. That's toward the northern end of the west paved parking lot. Tailgate will kick off right around 4 p.m. We're going to wrap it up around 6:30. You should be able to spot us pretty easily. You're going to see the KCSN Holiday Distillery co-branded tailgate tent we will have up. So look for that if you're having trouble finding the spot. Again, that's parking spot 778 on the west side. Also encourage all you to swing by the Wildcat NIL tailgate, which will have our friends over at Riverbank Brewing in Council Grove on hand this Saturday, serving up some drinks. You're going to have an opportunity to try some of the great things that Riverbank Brewing offers and provides as well. So if you're walking over to our tailgate at 3MAW, happen to be in the northeast grass area of the stadium, swing by, grab a drink and some food at the Wildcat NIL tailgate as well. It is a ton of fun over there, well worth the cost of one of the Wildcat NIL membership tiers over at catsnil.com, which for as little as $10 a month, you can join Wildcat NIL and support K-State athletes. They have tailgates for every home game starting right around 3 hours prior to kick. Tons of beverages and food to enjoy over there. It is a lot of fun as well. Well worth it. Plus, as a member, you can bring two guests to the tailgate. So if they're like my friends, when you bring the guests over, they'll have such a good time. They will sign up for the membership program over at catsnil.com after experiencing the tailgate. I also get this question a lot in the YouTube comments about where I got this hat I'm wearing right now. It is a Wildcat NIL hat that comes with a $25 a month membership tier at catsnil.com, along with other merchandise that comes with that membership tier and above. So if you like the hat, go sign up for the $25 a month club or above and help contribute to supporting K-State athletics. Curry, anything else to add to the folks wanting to learn more about Wildcat NIL, the future tailgates, etc.?
I don't think so. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Let's. We're gonna have 3 more tailgates this year before every home game. We'll have Riverbank at this week's game, as you mentioned, and I believe we'll have Holiday Distillery at the Arizona State game in November. So always good food, good drinks, and good other guest vendors as well. And so if you're not a member, get signed up and come join us this Saturday and the remaining Saturday home games. As we host these final 3 tailgates. And while you're in town this weekend, make sure to stop by Vista Drive-In, get yourself a combo meal and support the Cats while doing so. For the rest of this month, Vista will be donating 50 cents for every combo meal purchased at Vista to Wildcat NIL. So on the way in, on the way out, actually on the way out, it's probably going to be closed, but on the way in on Friday or Saturday or on the way out on Sunday, stop in at Vista and get yourself a combo meal and support the Cats along the way.
Absolutely. We are going to do the all 22 film review as just to level set everybody again. We will get to that here in just a moment. We've got 6 plays that we're going to break down from the West Virginia game that we do as we've done the previous 3 weeks. But first, we're going to start off things and kick it off with our top storyline of the week, which is brought to you, as always, by our friends over at Elanco, premier home improvement company based out of Kansas City that's owned and operated by terrific K-Staters. Curry, one question that was unknown heading into Saturday is what would the K-State offense look like if they didn't have their rushing game going? So they came into the game top 5 in the country in yards per carry on the season, and they'd rushed for at least 185 yards or more in every game this season. Well, with 4 minutes and 48 seconds left in the third quarter Saturday, K-State had 15 carries for 24 yards. DJ Giddens, the Big 12's leading rusher, 13 carries for 25 yards at that time, 1.9 yards per carry. Now, the rushing statistics looked much better at the end of the night as K-State had rushes of 18, 29, and 24 yards late in the game when it was in hand. But this game was won with the passing game. Avery Johnson goes 19 to 29 for 298 yards through the air, averages 10.3 yards per pass, records 3 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. How do you assess Avery's performance in Morgantown, and what impressed you the most?
He was excellent. Just to put it mildly, he was obviously, I think you mentioned the running game was from the jump. The running game wasn't effective. The first couple of drives, we're running it on first and second down and not getting pushed back or not getting any positive yardage. And so we were forced from the start of that football game to throw the football. And I think another thing that kind of aided or furthered that the run game issues was the fact that Avery appeared to be limited in his mobility. It was clear that Avery was not there were not going to be any designed quarterback runs, and Avery was not going to get out of the pocket and run unless he absolutely had to. I don't think he registered a single carry all night long. And so with that, I think West Virginia was able to load up and stop our run, which forced us to force Avery to become a pocket passer and to dice them up through the air, and that's exactly what he did. And so super impressed by him. You've seen him mature and develop so much over the course of the first, now 7 weeks of the season. And he's now becoming the pocket passer, the passer that we all thought maybe that he could be. And so, excited for him, excited for the football team to see that. Time and time again on Saturday when we needed a big play, when we needed a big throw, he stepped up and made it. And so, his development is super encouraging. Seeing him now starting to hit those deep balls that he was missing on early in the season, very encouraging. He's making layered throws over the top of the defense. He's making the right reads. He's getting through his progressions. He looks comfortable in the pocket. He looks different as a passer right now than he did 3, 4, 5, or 6 weeks ago. And so very impressed by him and his development.
781 yards through the air in his last 3 games, completing 64% of his passes, 8 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, and averaging an astonishing 9.4 yards per pass over those 3 games. He has been absolutely terrific. We'll have some other numbers to share with you on Avery Johnson in this offense as well right after this, but I know the great K-Staters over at Elanco really enjoyed Saturday night's effort by the Wildcats as well. And in an industry where many home improvement companies have been bought out by national corporations, Elanco has remained locally owned since they started in 1986. If you're thinking about getting new windows on your home or doing a bathroom remodel, Elanco specializes in premium window replacements as well as Kohler Luxstone shower systems. Need new siding on your home or new doors? The folks over at Elanco have you covered there as well with the best products and top quality service for all of your home improvement needs. You don't even need to live in the KC area. Elanco covers much of western Missouri, northeast Kansas, the surrounding KC metro. If you live in Manhattan, Emporia, Topeka, Wichita, small towns like Council Grove, etc., Elanco will come your way and take care of your home improvement needs. Go to elancohome.com. That's ALENCO home.com. Check out all the services they offer, or you can also give Sam, a great K-Stater, a call at 913-961-2165. He'll get you taken care of and answer any questions you have. Go support Elanco, a terrific local business, family-owned and operated by wonderful K-Staters. Curry, just a few numbers as well on Avery Johnson and this K-State offense. Avery went 9 of 10 passing for 119 yards on 3rd and 4th downs on Saturday in Morgantown. He converted 8 attempts into either a first down or a touchdown, 8 of those 10 attempts. In his last 3 games, he's 17 of 23 passing for 178 yards on 3rd and 4th downs, along with 4 scrambles for 41 yards, with all 4 achieving either a first down or a touchdown. Avery Johnson's quarterback rating of 96.5, this is from our guy Parker Eves on patreon.com/3maw, his QBR of 96.5 was the second best among all FBS quarterbacks in Week 8 and was the best by a Big 12 quarterback against Power 4 competition this season. It was also the best quarterback rating in an individual game by a K-State quarterback on the road since Jake Waters posted a 97.7 in 2013 at Texas Tech. Curry, Avery now owns 4 of the top 10 quarterback ratings in individual games in the Chris Kleiman era. Skylar Thompson makes up 3 of the other top 10 performances. Will Howard has 2. Adrian Martinez has 1. Avery Johnson started 8 games in his career at quarterback. In other words, 50% of hhis starts have been top 10 performances in the entirety of the Kleiman era, which now makes up 70 games that he has been the head coach. I mean, his ability to scan the field, to stay in the pocket, it was remarkable. And one thing I do want to bring up, Curry, is like Chris Kleiman talked about heading into the season, they want to be more explosive as an offense. Well, K-State had 1 pass over 50 yards all of last season in 13 games. They had 11 of 40 plus. And if you remember, that 1 pass over 50 yards last year was really a pass that only traveled a couple yards beyond the line of scrimmage. It was a pass out in the flat to DJ Giddens that he housed against TCU for a 60-plus yarder. In the last 3 games alone, K-State has 4 passes over 50 yards. Just how impressive is it that they've gotten so explosive? Like, what are they doing to become so much more explosive in the passing game?
I think, first off, our running game is forcing defenses to give us a lot of good looks. We saw it against Colorado, saw it a little bit against Oklahoma State, forcing a lot of man coverages that puts our receivers in favorable situations. And I think, the biggest thing, I mentioned this earlier, is just Avery starting to hit on those long balls. Early in the season, we were getting guys open down the field, but we just weren't connecting. A lot of overthrows. But now you're finding that rhythm, and now you're seeing those big plays happen. I mean, again, it happened twice. I guess the big play to DJ wasn't a pass down the field, but went for 53 yards. But the big play to Jaden to score that early touchdown. There was another deep ball that he threw, perfectly to Jace that unfortunately wasn't caught. And so he's just finding the connection on the deep balls. And so I think that's become, finding that connection has been a big piece of it. Again, our running game is a piece of it. And I think our offensive line is doing a good job holding up in pass protection for the most part. And a lot of these big plays, they're providing a good, clean pocket, and Avery's just then delivering strikes. And so, again, just incredibly impressed by his development. I mean, this is a guy, if you recall back to our week 1, week 2, game analysis, we're talking about how he's not, and I think even the BYU game, talking about how he's not progressing through his reads. He's not getting off number 1 and getting to number 2, 3, and 4. And now here we are through 7 weeks of the season, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's doing a great job of managing this offense, of working with the coaches to get us to the right plays and making the right reads, and then making great throws and executing. And that execution piece was missing early on, and now it's there. So very impressed by Avery. Big credit to him for his continued development, and big credit to Coach Riley and Coach Wells. I think they're doing a great job with our play calling, and they're doing a great job with the development of our good young quarterback.
Well, when we think about deep ball accuracy too, Curry, I mean, we have to remember too, there's been a couple drops on some of these deep balls that were beautiful throws. I mean, remember the play against Oklahoma State to Jaden Jackson, where he's probably getting interfered with in the end zone. That would have been a 40-plus yard touchdown through the air. That was an absolute dime. On Saturday in Morgantown, Avery threw a perfect ball to Jace Brown over 50 yards in the air, where, when he released it, Jace still had another 25 yards to go, just in the perfect spot. Unfortunately, Jace wasn't able to pull it in. And even the one at Colorado right before the big 50-yard touchdown pass to Jace, that was a ball that just barely got to his hands. I mean, he has really gotten better when it comes to accuracy on the deep ball, which makes this K-State offense so much more dangerous. And I think looking at the West Virginia game specifically, Curry, it looked to me like they were playing a lot of zone coverage, and we'll look at that when we see the all 22. But it looked like K-State did a really nice job, and their wide receivers as well, and Avery being patient and waiting for the open pockets or spacing in that zone coverage. But K-State's receivers, tight ends, did a really nice job of finding the openings or the soft spots in that zone, which shows a lot of maturity in this offense as well.
Absolutely. We saw a lot of zone Saturday, and coaches did a good job calling the right plays for the looks that we were getting, and Avery and the receivers, tight ends did a great job collectively of being patient and finding those open zones. I think we'll see a couple plays that speak to that when we get to the All-22.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple more notes on K-State's offense. They ranked number 12 nationally over the last 3 games in passing efficiency, number 1 in the Big 12 during that time. Avery Johnson's 9.4 yards per pass in the past 3 games is a mark that ranks top 12 in college football and the best in the Big 12 conference during that time frame. K-State's offense has scored 104 points on 28 non-garbage time drives in the last 3 games, an average of 3.71 points per drive, an incredibly impressive number. K-State is now averaging 2.98 points per drive versus FBS teams in 2024. That is the best in the Big 12. If the season ended today, that would be the second best mark by a K-State offense since 2012, just narrowly trailing the 2023 offense at 3.03 points per drive. K-State also averaging 6.6 yards per play versus FBS opponents this season. That ranks number 15 nationally and number 1 in the Big 12. They're averaging 7.3 yards per play over the past 3 games, which ranks number 6 nationally and number 2 among all Power 4 teams during that time frame. And per KSU_fan on Twitter, our guy Jimmy, K-State's offense has produced 4.43 points per drive versus West Virginia. It is only the 7th time in the last 99 games versus FBS opponents that a K-State offense has surpassed 4.4 points per drive. Connor Riley, Matt Wells, K-State's offense, Avery Johnson, and everybody involved is doing a terrific job as you continue to see this offense evolve. We're going to talk more about it. We're going to do the All-22 when we come back here from break. But first, always got to tell you about our friends over at homefieldapparel.com. Get on over to Homefield Apparel. Check out all the great merchandise they have. K-State gear, 50-plus items. They've got several jackets. We're heading into fall season now. Homefield Apparel has multiple jackets on their website with retro, sleek logos on them that you can go get stocked up on over at homefieldapparel.com. Also, tons of hoodies with retro logos, retro gear. Really cool, historic, throwback-type designs that Homefield Apparel has. So go check them out. You see it all the time at Bill Snyder Family Stadium when you're in Manhattan and you're out tailgating, you're in the stadium. Tons of people are rocking Homefield Apparel. Don't miss out. Go to homefieldapparel.com. Plus, you can get 15% off with the discount code 3MAW24. That's on your entire order as well. So 15% off your entire order. Enter discount code 3MAW24 at checkout. Go get stocked up with some of the best gear around.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your number 1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com. You know when you discover a new binge-worthy show or a song that you play on repeat and you just have to share it with your friends so they can experience just how awesome it is too? Well, that's how we felt when we discovered that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan. It's such an awesome deal, there's no way we could keep it to ourselves. Friends don't let friends overpay for wireless. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plan and switch to Mint Mobile. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text, delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your own phone number and bring along all your friends. Ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's deal and get 3 months of premium wireless service for just $15 a month. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/3MAW. That's mintmobile.com/3MAW. Cut your wireless bill to just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/3MAW. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
Curry, I think we also need to give a shout out to the defense as well, obviously. I mean, West Virginia, I know Garrett Green got hurt, but the defense produces 2 turnovers. Now, West Virginia came into the game 111th in the country and 15th in the Big 12 in turnover margin at -5, and Saturday was no different. K-State finishes +2 in this game. They get 2 interceptions in the first half. The huge interception, pick 6 by Marquise Siegel to put K-State up 17-3. Looked to me like they were bringing a ton of pressure early on in this game at Garrett Green, and that was part of the game plan, and maybe hurry some throws there. But just what did you make of the defensive effort by K-State?
Yeah, it was a good performance by and large. You get settled in. I think after maybe some rough spells in the first half, and maybe part of that is because Garrett Green went out. But I think it was mostly a good performance I do think that obviously Garrett Green gave us fits in the QB run game. So that there's a little bit of a problem there. And I think the tackling at times wasn't great. Missing a lot of tackles in open space, leading to bigger gains by the West Virginia offense. And so we'd like to see those two things get cleaned up, especially before we go to play, a Jalen Daniels, a Devin Neal, Highshaw, making sure that we're in the dynamic receivers that they have, making sure that we're ready for that game. But mostly it was a good performance. We were bringing a lot of pressure. We were getting in the QB space. We forced some errant throws, a lot of errant throws, which is something that Garrett Green, that we know he's accustomed to doing. Great defense by Marquis Siegel on the pick six. Again, caused by the pressure, and then another opportunistic interception by Jack Fabris on the deflection early in the game that I think swung the momentum early. And so just a good performance by the defense. I think we're still solid against the run, aside from maybe the QB run game on Saturday, and there's still a lot of good positive things happening out there. I think obviously the defensive backfield played a lot better on Saturday, which is a huge positive. Again, not the most dynamic offensive passing attack, but still, I mean, we give up less than 160 yards, less than 140 yards, right about 140 yards passing. So obviously a big deal there, 4.5 yards per attempt. Pretty good effort by the defense on Saturday. They're going to need to be even better on this coming Saturday against KU. It's an offense that has a lot of weapons, has a lot of talent, and has a lot of guys that can make you miss. And so we're going to need to be on our A game. We're going to need to be tackling in space, and not letting them get extra efforts down the field. So, but defense is playing solid. They're not doing anything to really hurt us, but there are some areas where they can improve.
Yeah, and we'll expand just a little bit more and get your thoughts on the KU game near the end of this show, Curry. But defense also holds West Virginia to 3.9 yards per play in the game, which is a terrific number. They hold them to 1.25 points per drive and non-garbage time. So really good performance. Marquis Siegel, I think, not even just counting the pick six, I thought he had his best game of the season for K-State. I mean, he made a lot of really nice tackles, a couple tackles for loss in the game. He was really good in coverage. He broke up a fourth down attempt as well, where he got his hand and deflected it up into the air. That was a turnover on downs in the second half of this game. Siegel was really good. Obviously, it was great to have Jacob Parrish back after suffering the injury against Colorado. And then I thought K-State's defensive line, Damian Ilalio, thought was really good, which, by the way, he's going to be our player guest this week, brought to you by Riverbank Brewing and Wildcat NIL. We'll have Damian Ilalio, a Kansas kid, to talk as a big Sunflower Showdown this weekend, as Curry already alluded to. So Damian Ilalio, I thought was good. Chidi Obiizor, I thought had maybe his best game of the season, where he flashed more. So some different guys we're starting to see flash on that defensive front. We know they rotate a lot of guys. Jordan Allen gets his first sack. I know it was late in the game, but he's starting to get an increase in snaps as well. The depth continues to increase there, and productivity from that defensive line. And Austin Romaine, I think, led K-State with 12 tackles. That was more of a game for him than it was Colorado when they spread the field and threw so much. So really nice performance, aside from some missed tackles early in that game that were a little bit frustrating. So, Nick, I think we are ready to jump into the All-22. Nick Springer behind the scenes, always producing the show and working with us. And all right, so here we have a touchdown pass to Garrett Oakley. I think this is a first down play. Now, if this throw is just a millisecond later, it could be picked off. Curry, one of the things I really liked about this play pre-snap, and you don't see it here because it jumps in just a little bit later, but DJ Giddens actually had started to motion the other way toward the flat, and then he comes back and motions this direction, RPO action. We know K-State runs a lot of swing passes, so the initial look looked like he was going to motion out to the flat as a swing, and then turns into an RPO and a pass to Oakley for a touchdown. What do you make of this play?
Yeah, it's a great play design. I also thought it was. I caught his motion caught me by attention during the game. I thought, wow, that's not a motion we're accustomed to seeing, and you see the effect of his motion during this play. He comes across the field, and not only does he chip the defensive end, who gets a good pass rush early on the right tackle there, but he takes three defenders have their eyes on DJ. Middle linebacker, flat defender, and the safety to the top, or nickel D-back to the middle there, right on the hash. They all three run with DJ in the flat, which is essentially what allows Garrett Oakley to find that opening, which leads to the touchdown. So this is obviously you're getting a zone look here in the red zone, which is not something that you typically see but obviously something that West Virginia does a lot of. And this is a simple 3 verticals to the field with an under from the backside receiver. And so really it's a 3 vertical switch. You've got your number 2 receiver to the field, which is Jace Brown, running to the back hash, and then you've got your number 3 receiver, your tight end to the field, who's running up the outside up the field hash. And so good job here again by DJ, taking the attention of several defenders. I think that Garrett does a good job of pushing wide to the hash. The one thing that I think would have helped make this play a little bit more effective, and which would have made this an easy touchdown, where Garrett didn't have to survive a hit as he makes the catch. Jace needs to push a little bit more vertical to put his toes on that safety's toes. You see Jace break off to the backside hash when he gets about 5 yards away from that field safety. That field safety doesn't bite on that at all. So Jace needs to get all the way up on that DB's toes and then break off toward the backside hash, and then that's a walk-in easy touchdown. But again, this is a good play design, solid execution. I think something that I'm impressed with here is you see the defensive end to the field get a good pass rush on the right tackle. Avery does a good job of getting to his drop, immediately stepping up in the pocket, one hitch, and he throws a strike to Garrett Oakley. And at the end of this play, super impressive catch by Garrett. Obviously, he's contorting his body a little bit, and then right as he's catching the ball, he's getting hit. Was really impressed during the game on the replay by the way that he, great hands catch, but then before he goes to the ground, he gets that ball tucked, he gets his forearms under the football to prevent any possible ball movement in a review that may have led to that being overturned. And so good execution all the way around. Could have been, Jace, I think, could have made that a little bit easier, but good execution, great throw, great catch, great play design.
Really strong hands by Garrett Oakley to haul that in and hang on to it, which brings me to a question, Curry. I mean, K-State's tight ends, yes, they lost Ben Sennett, which shout out to Ben Sennett getting his first touchdown grab with the Washington Commanders yesterday in the NFL game, but they lose Ben Sennett, but they're making up for it by quantity here with the tight ends. K-State has 4 tight ends when you account for Braden Lofton as well, who's unfortunately been banged up for a few weeks, but they haven't missed a beat. Those 4 tight ends have combined for 26 receptions, nearly 250 yards, and 8 touchdowns through the year. Just how impressed have you been with the tight end depth, the quality? Will Ancio, I've been blown away with how good of a blocking tight end he is. As a guy that came in a little lighter weight as a true freshman last year and had to put on some muscle, he's been really good as well.
Yeah, super impressed by them. Going into the season, we knew that we were going to be solid at the top with Will and Garrett. We didn't know much about Braden Lofton or Will Ancio, though we were hearing good things about them through the preseason. And obviously, Braden bursts onto the scene early before he gets hurt in the BYU game, and then Will gets an opportunity after that and has made the absolute most of it. So really impressed by that room. Coach Brownlee Pack obviously is doing a good job there. That should be, the way that we're utilizing these tight ends should be enticing to a certain recruit out of the western part of the state. But really impressed by the group. I mean, we know that, Will Swanson, he's been around for a long time. I think he's a good leader. He's a guy that can kind of do a lot of different things. They line him up in the H-back spot. He plays in line. He's a good blocker. He'll make some catches when he needs to. Garrett Oakley's always been sort of that new hybrid type tight end where he can split out. He can run all the routes. He's got speed. He can catch the football, make plays after the catch. And then we're seeing with Will Ancio. We knew he was a good blocker after the performances that he had against Oklahoma State and Colorado. But then you get to see him in the passing game a little bit this week, and he makes two big plays, including a great touchdown catch in a big moment on Saturday. And so really, really impressed by him. That the future of that tight end room is really, really bright. So really impressed by them. And obviously we know that since Coach Kleiman has been here and certainly with Coach Riley, we know 12 personnel is something that they like to use. And having 4 tight ends, four really quality tight ends makes it really, really easy to run a lot of 12 personnel and feel really good about it no matter who's in there. So really impressed by this group and really impressed by Will Ancio and the way that he's come onto the scene.
Now you're going to see in one of these all-22s where all 3 tight ends are actually on the field with Will Swanson lined up in that H-back role on a touchdown later on when we go through that. All right. Nick, we're ready to roll with play number 2. Let's see here as I flashback. This is the 53-yard pass to DJ Giddens. where he just narrowly doesn't get in, falls down at the 1 yard line as he's tackled from behind. This was a 3rd down and 6 conversion, and you see that they flood the field. They get everybody out. You got Garrett Oakley from tight end running a crossing route, but they get the whole left side of the field wide open for DJ, isolated against a edge defender. I don't know if it's a DN. I think it's a linebacker lined up on the edge. He has no chance. And Curry, I think one of the things that is set up so well about this play is that K-State has run so many wheel routes out of the backfield with their running backs that you can see DJ starts to out, and the defender thinks, I think, that he's running a wheel route, and then DJ plants his foot and runs an angle route over the middle, and the defender has no chance. And then DJ just uses his speed to explode by that safety who takes a bad angle and then turns it into a 53-yard play. But how do you assess this one?
Yeah, I think this is just an excellent play design by the coaches. I mean, they know that they're getting a lot of zone looks. I'm guessing that they've seen a look where an opposing offense in a prior game against West Virginia has given a trips look with a tight end on the backside, running back to the weak side. Or to the boundary, and knowing that they're going to get this type of look. And so I think it's an excellent play design. Garrett Oakley does a really nice job of taking that boundary corner. That boundary corner runs with him. The safety also runs with him off the snaps. There's a little bit of a miscommunication there, which crossing routes have a tendency to create. And then it's just an excellent route by DJ. He as you said, we've really hammered on the wheel routes this year. Had a lot of success on those plays, and so that you can tell that linebacker is absolutely running to the boundary, thinking I can't give up a big play on the wheel route, and so DJ pushes up at his outside shoulder, breaks it off, makes a great catch, makes a good adjustment on the run, and then goes and gets us down to the 1 yard line for another score. So excellent play design, great execution by Garrett, by DJ, by Avery. And I'll say one thing that impressed me here on the very back end of this play is just look at Trey Spivey. Look at this. This is a kid who's not playing a whole lot. He runs a clear route on the inside. He knows he's not going to be a guy who's going to get the ball. And once that ball gets completed to DJ, look at him turn on the jets and go chase down that field safety to try to get a cutoff block in case he needs it. Really, really impressive here. Impressive effort by a young kid who's fighting to get on the football field, and that's the type of play that's gonna receive a lot of high praises in their film review today, and a play that could get him more snaps. And so, really impressed there by a play that absolutely has no impact on the outcome of this play, but the coaches will absolutely point out and praise him for. So great play design, great execution, just a solid play all the way around.
I absolutely love the call out on Trey Spivey there. You can see him just flying down the field. First of all, on his route, I mean, he is gliding down the field,
Yep.
And then to just sprint as hard as he can. You can see he even catches up to that defender and seals him off. Just tremendous hustle for a guy that could easily sulk a little bit, that hasn't gotten very many, targets so far this year, that has a tremendously bright future. That's a really nice play by Trey Spivey. Love to see the hustle. That speaks volumes about how he was raised. We know his father, like we've said before, World Series champion, Junior Spivey. That's a professional culture that Trey Spivey grew up with. So it's no surprise at all. Outstanding young man and great hustle there. And DJ Giddens continues to be explosive in the passing game. I mean, he's now, just in the last few weeks, he had the Tulane play against a 40-plus yarder for a touchdown on that wheel route, 53-yarder right there. Colorado, 34-yarder. I think he's averaging almost 17 yards per reception this year. Yeah. So when they target him, he turns into big plays quite often. All right, Nick, we're ready for play number 3. This is the deep ball 60-yarder to Jaden Jackson. And, I mean, to me, this is probably pretty simple. Curry, K-State goes hurry up. So the first pass, which I think we have in here as well, there's a 24-yarder to Jaden Jackson where he drops it in the hole in the zone. And then they hurry up to the line of scrimmage, quick snap it, and Jaden Jackson just beats him on a seam route right here. And it's a beautiful throw by Avery Johnson. Go ahead and break this one down.
Yeah, so really this is I'm guessing this is a look that we've given in the past against this quarters look. So you're getting a straight cover 4 look from the defense, which is something that West Virginia likes to give you. And this is a very simple concept. You've got outside receivers running just simple stop routes, hitch routes on to the boundaries. And then this is really a play that's really got two digs. I mean, that's what it's supposed to be, is really 2 digs from the inside receivers. And you can tell that safety is expecting Jaden to run a dig. And so what Jaden really does is run a little bit of a dig and go. You can see him run. He takes 1 or 2 brief steps to the dig route, before he puts his foot in the ground and runs over the top of that safety. You can see again, look at that safety, flip his hips. He turns his hips to the boundary, and is sitting on that hitch or that dig route, and Jaden, does a great job of selling it, and then blows by him for an easy touchdown. Great execution, great route, great throw. Again, another really, really good play design. I'm guessing we hadn't shown this yet this year. And that defense is expecting a dig route there from the inside guy, and we give him a double move for an easy score. So really impressive play design again by the coaching staff, and great execution here.
Beautiful throw, nice route by Jaden Jackson, nice finish to the play. He has 2 catches for 84 yards in the game, and they both occurred on that drive. Yeah, Jaden Jackson is coming on in Big 12 play. He had the 5 grabs for 55 yards against Oklahoma State. He had the big 3rd and 14 conversion last week at Colorado, and then has the 2 grabs for 84 yards and a touchdown. And this one, you like to see the depth increasing in that wide receiver room for a reliable veteran guy like Jaden Jackson. All right, Nick, we're ready for the 4th one here. So this is the 4th and 5, and this is a gigantic play in the game. I mean, it is 17-10. This is the first drive of the 3rd quarter. And if K-State turns this over on downs, first of all, Avery Johnson gets sacked here. West Virginia's got the ball down 7 to start the second half at midfield. But you can see that the DN gets a tremendous jump on the snap, and Andrew Langang didn't really have much of a chance. He just timed it perfectly. And so the defender beats Andrew Langang off the edge here, gets to Avery Johnson. And while Avery didn't get sacked in this game and he didn't have any single rushing attempts, this just shows, how special he is as a quarterback. A tremendous play here to roll off and evade this sack, which would have been a turnover on downs. And then to still be patient enough and savvy enough, Curry, to have his head up, to not try and take off and run, but to find the open receiver. Because this play is actually, if you look at it, it is covered pretty well. And nothing there. There's really nothing there. Even if they block this well, there may not be anything there. In fact, the play might have only worked because of what Avery did here to roll out. And big shout out to Ty Bowman, a 6th-year guy, Kansas kid, who's starting to get more playing time at wide receiver, starting with the Oklahoma State game. He has 3 catches in this game. A couple of them were big conversions. Ty Bowman has the whereabouts here to know that Avery is rolling out, and you can see Ty Bowman there find the opening, work with his quarterback, get to the sideline, and convert this 4th and 5 into what eventually turns into a touchdown drive. And from then on, K-State just buries West Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the biggest play in the football game, because you're right. We're up 7 at this point early in the second half. If we don't convert here, then West Virginia's got the ball in great field position with an opportunity to tie the football game. And so I think this swung the momentum for good right here. But yeah, I mean, this play is dead from the jump. I mean, with a clean pocket, Avery doesn't have much to look at. I think Keegan motions to that similar trips bunch set that we saw a little bit ago. On the DJ angle route, and I think there may be a bust here by Keegan or Jace. You see Jaden run a clear route and out route from the number 2 spot, and both Keegan and Jace run little spot routes. And so I think there's a little bit of a miscommunication there, maybe an assignment error. So there's nothing to the field. And Ty Bowman Ty and DJ are both covered up as well. I suppose Avery could have let one rip to DJ down the sideline on the wheel route, but this is a play where Avery shows us the type of skill level, the type of talent that he is. Andrew Langang in his first start at right tackle, a position that he doesn't typically play, gets beat off the line of scrimmage. I will say, obviously this isn't one of his best snaps, but I thought Andrew did a really, really nice job of stepping in for Carver Willis at the right tackle position on Saturday night. And I think the biggest thing here is, you've got a quarterback who, as we discussed earlier, is not, he's obviously dealing with some level of injury and it isn't comfortable moving around, isn't comfortable running the football. He didn't again register a single carry, but here in the, one of the biggest moments in this football game, basically a free pass rusher off the edge. Avery does a great job of eluding him. And then, like you said, the poise that you see from him after he evades that rush and gets off of that rusher is what it has impressed me the most about him is he's grown so much with his poise and his confidence throughout the season. Sheds the rusher and then immediately gets his eyes up down the field. And you can see that the defense quits when they think there's a sack, that the defensive back guarding Ty Bowman thinks, okay, we've got a sack here. I quit doing my job. And Ty does a great job with scrambling with his quarterback, moving in the same direction as his quarterback to the sidelines. He gets to the stick. He makes a good catch here and then gets up the play for extra yardage. We highlighted Trace Spivey's effort on the play prior. This is the type of effort from a 6-year senior like Ty Bowman that's going to get him on the field more. This is a guy who they obviously trust. They know he's going to do the right thing, and he's shown us that he's able to make plays when he's given the opportunity. And so, excellent play here by Avery and Ty Bowman to put us in a position to really put this game on ice.
Ty Bowman also had a big third down conversion earlier in the game on a reception, and then the fourth down conversion there. So stepping up in big moments, a guy that's reliable, that they know they can trust, a veteran, regarded as a special teams ace, but starting to get more time on the field at wide receiver, big wide receiver as well. He's about 6'5", so he brings something a little different to the table. All right, we are ready for the 5th out of 6 play here. This is the pass before the 60-yard touchdown to Jaden Jackson. This also is to Jaden Jackson. And I think the reason we're highlighting this, first of all, it looks like a zone look again from West Virginia, but it's just a really impressive throw, Curry, that Avery dumps it in and gets it over the head of those defenders right on the boundary. Not the easiest of window to get that through, gets enough elevation on the throw and converts on a really nice play for 24 yards here to Jaden Jackson.
Yeah, just an excellent throw. Probably the best individual throw that he made during this football game. I'm not sure what kind of look you're getting here from West Virginia. That safety to the boundary, number 12, he's always given looks that make you wonder if he knows what he's doing or if he's just out there freelancing. It's some sort of, it looks to be cover 3. It could be cover 4. It's hard to say, again, based on the way that number 12 is playing in his spot there. But this is a simple concept. You've got deep digs by the outside receivers, and then you've got deep hitch routes by the outside receivers, and then you've got a dig route by Jace on the inside. And this is, you get soft coverage. You've got both of your outside receivers open, and this is just an excellent throw by Avery, layering it in over that flat defender and underneath that topside defensive back for an easy 24-yard first down completion. And I think, again, just look at Avery on this play. The pocket is mostly clean. Sam Heck does give up some ground in the middle there, which leads to a guy basically being in Avery's lap, and Avery just stands tall in the pocket, very, very confident and poised, and makes a great throw that sets up a big-time touchdown pass on the very next play. So excellent pocket presence and excellent throw here by Avery. And again, good execution by the offensive group.
Curry, I think somebody raised this point the other day. Remember in 2021 when Skylar Thompson got banged up, suffered the knee injury, and then he basically had to become a pocket quarterback, a guy that was a dual threat guy, but he had to stand in the pocket. And that very next game was against Oklahoma in Manhattan. And I think he threw for over 300. He looked really sharp. Obviously you want Avery Johnson to be mobile and have one of his best assets in his legs, but the fact that he couldn't really run, does that help with the development in your mind of the passing game, that he knows he's got to stay in that pocket and deliver strikes and just help evolve him even more as a player?
Yeah, I think so. I think it does. I think I remember what you're talking about with Skylar. Skylar was always a guy, despite maybe some of his experience, who would get uncomfortable in a mostly clean pocket and would leave the pocket and try to make a play. And we saw him once he got banged up. We saw him have to sit tight in the pocket, and that's when he became the best version of his college self. And so I do think there's some some credence to that with Avery. It's just here's a guy who was obviously limited with his mobility on Saturday night, and he's super poised, super confident in the pocket all night long. And so I do think that can help his continued development as a pocket passer. Now, hopefully on Saturday and moving forward, he's able to utilize his feet as well, because that's what makes him such a dynamic player. We've seen his ability to run the football, obviously, and we've seen his ability to throw the football on the run. And so hopefully we're able to put a little bit of that back into the game plan this week, because that's what makes this offense even more dynamic. But I do think that Avery's lack of his limited mobility on Saturday night is going to help his development and the development of this offense, because he's shown us now that in a game where the run game is largely being stymied, he's perfectly fine standing in the pocket and chewing a defense up with great throws all night long. And so I think that was a huge game for the continued progression of Avery Johnson.
260 yards per game over the last 3 weeks for Avery Johnson through the air. if you had told people before the season and all the narratives from national folks that love to say, oh, he can't really throw, he's more of a runner. The last 2 games, Avery Johnson has negative 15 yards on the ground when you account for sacks. And K-State went 2-0 and produced some of the best offensive performances that we've seen in a while. So just shows the evolution of this offense and of Avery Johnson as a player. All right, let's roll the very last play here, which is a touchdown to Will Ancio on a 3rd and goal from the 1-yard line. Nick, ready to roll whenever you are. All right, so you see here K-State's got double tight, and then they've got Will Swanson as well lined up in the H-back/fullback role here. And it's a touchdown to Will Ancio, the redshirt freshman, talented tight end, who also had another grab in this game for an 18-yarder. And West Virginia actually covers this up pretty darn well. This is a really tight window to throw the ball into to Ancio, and a really tight throw for Avery Johnson to make. And just all around, to me, just a nice ball and a nice catch.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think this was, I believe this was a 3rd down play call after we hadn't been able to get in. After DJ had been stuffed on the prior 2 carries after his long catch. And so this is another big moment in this football game. And so you've got, this is obviously a play action. You're getting man coverage, which is identified pre-snap. And this is a simple concept. It's basically a simple mesh between Keegan and Will Ancio. And then Will Swanson runs to the flat. Off the play fake. And so there's really not a whole lot there. I guess he could have lofted one to the back pylon to Keegan, or thrown it late to Will Swanson, which is actually what I thought he was doing. He feathers a throw in there to a guy who's largely covered up. And I said the Jaden throw was the most impressive of the night. I think this one actually may beat it. And so, just a great job by Avery at putting it right on his guy. And though Will Swanson or Will Ancio was covered up from the jump, this shows you what a big body tight end can do for you. He basically boxes out that defender and makes it so that he's catching the ball or nobody's catching the ball. And Avery on the run with a guy in his face throws it right into Will's chest, and Will makes a great catch and holds onto the ball as he goes to the ground. And so really, really impressive play by a young emerging duo in this offense. And so just can't say enough about the throw that Avery makes here, and then the execution on the back end by Will Ancio.
Yeah, and how many times do you see that ball hit the ground as you're going to the ground by a guy
absolutely
in traffic, and really strong hands once again by a K-State tight end and Will Ancio to hang on to it going to the ground. And lovely ball by Avery Johnson again. Just a lot of great strikes. I mean, look, and we say he went 19-29 in this game. Really nice completion percentage, but a couple of the balls were just mature throwaways in the game where he's throwing the ball out of bounds to get rid of it because nothing's open. And then there were multiple drops. And again, I'm not criticizing here. Jace Brown had that big play that could have been a catch. There was one to Will Swanson along the boundary on the sideline earlier in the game that was in a lot of traffic. So the numbers could have even been better for Avery Johnson. Unfortunately, didn't get over that 300-yard mark through the air, but just continue to see the growth there. Really special performance.
And I think until I think those last few drives for the game is put away, and maybe after he gave up that last touchdown, there was they threw the starting offense back on the field, maybe to get Avery 300 yards, and maybe to make sure that West Virginia couldn't mount a comeback. But I think there were several incompletions late that led that completion percentage lowering. But really, I think through the bulk of that football game, his completion percentage was 70 to 80%, and so again, very efficient. Smart football all night long, making the right reads, making the right throws. Super impressive game by Avery.
The only 2 misses I can really recall that stood out to me were K-State was down inside the 10-yard line. They eventually scored anyways, but he had Dylan Edwards motioned out in the flat that would have been a touchdown, and he sailed the throw to Will Swanson over the middle, which he was open too. It just went high, but Dylan Edwards would have been the easier throw and would have been a touchdown there. And then I think it might have been that same drive. I can't remember. The ball deflects up in the air. Keegan probably should have somehow had a freebie touchdown there for Keegan. And it was a tight window, ball deflects in the air, gets a little dangerous there, but Keegan was there, and then it drops incomplete. So not here to nickel and dime some of these throws because Avery Johnson was special on Saturday. He's been special the last 3 weeks. Curry, a big one, obviously, on Saturday. You're a Kansas kid. You played in this game several times, won all of them, obviously, as K-State has won 15 in a row. K-State always has more Kansas kids on their roster as well, and I think we talked about this last year, but the value that Kansas State and this football program places on Kansas kids, what's the value of that in a rivalry game like this?
It's massive. It's massive. And I think for multiple reasons. I think the proof is in the pudding that the Kansas team with the biggest influence of Kansas players has the most success, both generally and with respect to this game. I think, during the last 30, 35 years, the most success that Kansas has had against us is during the Ron Prince stretch, which is where Ron Prince took an emphasis off of Kansas Kid, and that was when Mark Mangino, a Bill Snyder disciple, was placing a ton of emphasis on them and getting guys like Jake Sharp and Kerry Meyer and other big-time Kansas players to come and play at KU instead of them coming and playing at K-State. And obviously, Coach Snyder came back, and Mark Mangino was terminated KU, and since then, there's the emphasis has been very, very strong by Coach Snyder and Coach Clement on Kansas kids, and Kansas kids have, they generally have a great work ethic. They're very, they have high integrity. That you can count on them to do the right thing. They're always going to be effective special teams players, and they also understand the dynamic of this rivalry and of this football game. You especially when you talk about the history of this rivalry and the history of it over the last 35 years and over the last 15 years. And so there's a huge buy-in from these, from the Kansas kids, which I think helps the out-of-state kids buy into this game as well. And you can look at the game last year at Lawrence, which was a huge come-from-behind win to extend the streak to 15. And just seeing the reaction from the football team after the game, as we won, as they were celebrating on the field and with the fans, you could tell that game meant a little bit more than maybe games prior. And so I think that the in-state kids help with that. They've grown up around this rivalry. They understand what it means to the people of Kansas, to K-State fans, and for the state generally. And so having Kansas kids out there is a huge, huge deal. And I think Coach Clement has done an excellent job of locking down the best talent in the state. And I know Sports in Kansas, Chet Copeland does a really good job of highlighting the success of Kansas players at the next level. And early on this season, kind of did an analysis on the number of Kansas kids on the depth charts at K-State and KU, and the difference is massive, massive. I mean, I'm talking, I can't remember the exact number. I wish I had it, but it's somewhere around. At the start of the year, it was somewhere around 20 to 30 Kansas kids on the K-State 2-deep and like 3 or 4 on the KU 2-deep. And that makes a massive, massive difference because this game just means more to our guys. And I know I'm on a little bit of a diatribe here, but you can tell that, you look at our roster, let's look at our offense, for example, and you've got, starting center is Sam Heck, the guy who grew up in KU's backyard. We got him to walk on, and now he's a good player starting center at this level. To his left and to his right are two guys, two upperclassmen, both from the state of Kansas, and Hadley Panzer and Taylor Portier, guys who came, I think who had opportunities probably to go to KU, but came to K-State and have been here for a long time and had a lot of success against KU. Avery Johnson, Dylan Edwards, DJ Giddens, 3 guys in our backfield who are all Kansas kids who've all grown up around this rivalry, they understand exactly what it means. And then Ty Bowman is another example of the guy who we mentioned is getting a lot more playing time lately. He's our special teams ace. He's a reliable, depth option at the receiver position. He grew up just down the road from Lawrence, Kansas, and I'm guessing had an opportunity to walk on there like he did at K-State, but he came to K-State. He's the type of player that makes a difference on our football team and in our locker rooms. And I could go on and on and on, but the point is that history shows that the stronger the influence of Kansas kids, the more success you're going to have in this rivalry and generally. And so I'm super proud of Coach Clement and his staff for continuing to place a significant emphasis on recruiting Kansas kids to K-State. It helps set the culture and it helps build success. And so looking forward to seeing the guys out there on Saturday night and hopefully extending the streak to 16.
Oh, it's a great analysis and thoughts. And I mean, if you look at the other side of the ball too, I mean, we already took Keenan Garber. He's a Lawrence kid, starting corner. Jacob Parrish, an Olathe kid, other Kansas. So your 2 starting corners are Kansas kids. Austin Moore at linebacker, obviously a Kansas kid from Lewisburg. He understands the rivalry. He's a 6-year guy. Damian Ilalio, your starting nose tackle. Jordan Allen, defensive end.
Desprinel.
Yeah.
Desprinel grew up 20 minutes from KU, and I don't think had an offer from them. And yeah, you mentioned Keenan Garber, and what about Jet Denis? Jet being one of our other special teams aces, a kid who, his 1 or 2 of his older brothers played at KU, were good players at KU. He went to one of the Lawrence high schools as well. And along with his brother Jax, decided to come to K-State. And so these are the type of kids who understand it. and they make a huge difference in this rivalry. And so, excited to see the atmosphere on Saturday night. I think it's going to be really, really fun. Obviously, KU's coming off of a big victory. I think their confidence is going to be up, and hopefully the Cats can remind them who's king in the state.
Well, how do you on the field? Like, how do you evaluate and assess this game? Like, what concerns you? How do you kind of break down what the keys to the game are on Saturday?
I think what concerns me the most is just, I think, we've had issues at times with tackling. I think that's something that needs to be shored up on Saturday. Devin Neal is one of the best running backs in the country. I think he may break KU's all-time rushing record on Saturday night. He has a good chance to. Daniel Highshaw is another really good running back. Jalen Daniels is a guy who's got a dynamic, he's got the ability to run the football from the quarterback position. And then they've got 3 or 4 receivers who are really slippery, good players in Skinner, Arnold, and Graham. And so we're going to have to be able to tackle in space. That's going to be a huge part of Saturday night. But I think at the end of the day, I think our strengths match up really well with some of their strengths. They're a good running football team where we defend the run really, really well. I think, maybe our passing efficiency defensively isn't as great, but sometimes they struggle to throw the football. And so I think there's going to be opportunities on both sides of the game on that side of it. And I think their defense, has struggled at different times throughout the year. And our offense has shown that we're a dynamic, we're a dynamic offense with a lot of options, in the running game and in the passing game. And so I think in that case, our strengths probably match up with their weaknesses a little bit. So I think this is going to be a big, big football game. They're again coming off the victory. Their confidence is restored, and I think they're going to be coming in here with an edge and an expectation that they knock us off and in that 15-game streak. And so hopefully, the guys are geared up and ready. Hopefully, we get healthier, and it's going to be about getting off to a hot start and making sure that KU doesn't build more confidence throughout the early part of this football game.
Yeah. And Nick, our producer, noted that Devin Neal, to your point, Curry just needs 72 yards to set KU's all-time rushing record. Tremendously talented running back, Highshaw, physical runner, Jalen Daniels, mobile. You mentioned it, Skinner, Arnold, bigger wide receivers. Graham always finds ways to get open. He's a really nice player as well. And then they find ways to get Jared Casey involved at tight end / H-back as well. So, look, they're going to throw everything on the table for this game. I mean, KU is 2-5. This is their season. I mean, at this point, it's been a huge disappointment for KU. Obviously, Big 12 title aspirations. Like, this is the one thing to me that can probably save Lance Leipold's. I mean, his job's not at risk. Obviously, I'm not trying to say that, but to save face on this season and coming into Manhattan and ending the streak. So they're going to lay it all on the line. And
they're 2-5, but they've the Big 12, as we're seeing every week, every game is winnable. And KU has shown that they've had an opportunity to win every football game that they've played in. Yeah. So I think there's also an opportunity for them. I mean, if they come in and win, they get to 3-5, and then all of a sudden go in and win in 3 of your last 4 or all 4 to get to bowl eligibility is a possibility. And so they're still playing for something. And so I don't want to underestimate that. This is, a team that I think feels like they have a lot to prove. I think they're going to be hungry on Saturday, and they've given us some good matchups over the last few years. So we got to be ready. We got to execute. We got to tackle. I think the coaches will have them in a good spot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, to your point, I mean, they've been in every game at the end. I mean, all their losses, they've been right there. You look at the loss at Illinois. Illinois is ranked right now. Illinois just beat Michigan 21-7. At home. Now, I know Michigan's a disappointment this year and they don't have an offense, but, that was a game that KU was right in. Arizona State, they were up with 3 minutes left in the game on the road in Tempe. We could go down the list. They were UNLV, I think, is the first team out of the poll this week. And so they've got a loss to a top 20 team in Illinois, and they've got a loss to a top 26 team in UNLV. So they played some good football teams. They played some close games. And just come down on the wrong side of it. But this is a good football team, and they're going to be hungry, and they're well coached. And there's they're going to be coming in here with an edge to them. So we're going to have to be ready, and we're going to have to be able to take some jabs from them. And inexplicably blew the 28-17 lead in Morgantown when they were up with 11 with 5 minutes left in the game. So that was the first, probably biggest and most devastating blow that they've had this season, because it got them off to an 0-1 start in league play. All right, Curry, you have a prediction for the game?
Oh, man. I'm on the spot. Yeah, I mean, I think the Cats win. I think, we're playing really, really well. I think we're going to be healthier Saturday than we were this past Saturday. And I think, having it at home where we play so well generally is going to be a huge edge for us. And so I don't know. I think Cats are going to win by 10 to 14. Let's call it 31 to 20. I think is going to be the outcome of this football game.
It's right around the betting spread right now. I think K-State in the latest is right around 10.5, 10 points in the betting market. The one thing I will say, I meant to pull the numbers on this before the show. We pulled it before, but when Chris Kleiman wins at home over the last few years, they tend to blow teams out. I'm trying to think to the next closest game. Like there have not been very many competitive home games in Manhattan when K-State wins. Now, when they lose, it's typically close, but when they win, it has been mostly blowouts. KU honestly might have been one of the more close ones, 47-27 in 2022. So, however, I don't see this being a 20-plus point win for Kansas State. I mean, to be clear, KU has been right there in the last few minutes of every game. I think this is going to be a competitive game. Should be an electric atmosphere. Third straight Sunflower Showdown under the lights, which was pretty cool to get a 7 p.m. kick in Manhattan. Should be an absolutely electric, juiced up atmosphere. K-State's 6-1, 3-1 in the Big 12. Everything to play for. Big 12 championship right there in front of your eyes. Control your own destiny with your rival coming into Manhattan, Kansas.
Yeah,
should be.
I think not to look ahead, but you've got this game. You get a win Saturday, and then you go play against a Houston team that is reeling a little bit, struggling in Willie Fritz's first year, and then you've got that big bye week there in the early to middle part of November, which sets you up for that last 3-game stretch of 2 home games against beatable teams, and then a big game to finish the year at Iowa State. So, get through this game, and then you've got a winnable road game against Houston, and then you get to breathe a little bit and get guys back and healthy and feeling good about themselves as they go into that last stretch of the regular season. And so, I think this is a big opportunity for the Cats, and I think they'll rise to the challenge.
Well, John mentioned it on our post-game show after the West Virginia game, but now a real opportunity. You got through the grind of all this travel, right? I mean, you've had to go to Tulane, you had to go to BYU, Morgantown, Colorado, and these trips. Some of these trips were games where you had to travel, and get on a bus. And like you fly into Pittsburgh, I believe, and then you have to bus an hour to Morgantown. BYU.
I don't know if they did that or not.
You don't know. Yeah.
One year we flew, when I was on the team, one year we flew into Pittsburgh and drove, and then my senior year we flew right into a little tiny airport near Morgantown.
Okay.
So I don't know what they would have done, but you're right. I mean, you go from bye week to big game in the mountain, late game in the mountain time zone. You get home at 5 a.m. on a Sunday, and then you turn around and you go late game on the East Coast against a tough West Virginia football team, and then you get home at 3 a.m. And so you're right. I think we're coming back home. We haven't played in front of our home fans in a month. First big home night game since the Arizona game in week 3. And it's going to be a fun environment. I think the team right now, just after this road trip, I think they're going to love being back home in front of their stands. I think the crowd is going to be juiced up for this game. And I think it's going to be a really fun one.
Yeah, 3 of the next 4 at home, plus the bye week, and then Houston being the road game, which is an easily flyable destination in your own time zone. Imagine that.
I know.
Time zone trip. We'll probably have an earlier kick for that one.
Yeah, maybe an 11 or 2:30 kick, so our team could get home before the airplane counter flips to the following day.
That would be nice, and it would be nice for me as well. I just imagine going into that Iowa State game potentially 10-1. In which case I will probably have to buy 5 bottles of Ben Holiday bottled in Bond bourbon to make it through that day.
Yeah, let's go 1 week at a time.
Yeah.
The possibility is certainly one that can create some excitement. So big one this week. And I know our coaches, it's, Coach Kleiman has carried this on from Coach Snyder. He's not going to let this team look ahead. Their focus is going to be on KU.
And that's where part of the value is as well. And all the Kansas kids, nobody's going to look ahead. You got a lot of leaders in there that are going to be locked in and focused on this game and make sure you have the attention of this roster. K-State will be locked in, ton to play for, and it should be a ton of fun. Go check out the Wildcat NIL tailgate this weekend. I'm going to try to swing by as well, be back and forth. But I'm going to be over at the 3 Mob tailgate and KCSN tailgate with Holiday Distillery quite a bit as well. Again, that's parking spot 778 on the west side paved lot of the football stadium for the 3 Mob Holiday Distillery tailgate. Come enjoy some bourbon and vodka with us, and then swing by that Wildcat NIL tailgate on the northeast grass lot. Get signed up for the membership tier program over at catsnil.com for as little as $10 a month. you can be a member. You can go over to that tailgate, enjoy tons of beverages, food, hang out with great K-Staters like yourself, have a ton of fun, plus bring a couple guests, encourage them to sign up as well when you do it. This is going to be a fun day in Manhattan. I just saw the latest weather forecast as well. Initially, it was projected to be like 77, 78 for a high. Latest weather 65. Forecast. Yeah. Oh man, this is the first fall type true game if it holds. And we see that 65, 67 by the time kickoff is a little under 60, jacket weather, hoodie weather. This is the ideal kickoff. I've been waiting for this. In October 26th, homecoming weekend in Manhattan, the weekend leading up to Halloween. This place will be juiced. It'll be a ton of fun. Cannot wait for Saturday to get here. Let's fast forward through this week and get to what should be an electric, amazing atmosphere in Manhattan. Curry, appreciate it as always. Appreciate all of you for tuning into the show. Just a reminder, if you enjoy the show, like, subscribe on any of the platforms you listen to it, whether it be Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or like and subscribe on YouTube. Leave a comment if you enjoy the show as well. That helps us as we continue to grow the show. Appreciate Nick Springer behind the scenes. For Curry Sexton, thank you all for listening to another episode of 3 Mall.